Alright guys, so I have been just running around trying to figure out why the Land Rover runs so well, and I am having an issue communicating with the ECM. I've done so much troubleshooting on this, and the only culprit that I could think of is, one, the temperature sensor took a shit, or, you know, it's something else. And I've been reading about how water can get into the cab, and obviously here is the rust. So I'm like, okay, well, it's got to be here somewhere. Well, everything back here is dry. I mean, I have pulled the connectors, I've double checked, triple checked, and I was reading a thread where somebody lost access to their ECM just like I have, and same thing. I've been just seeing what problems they happen to find, and sure enough, in that thread I found that there are connectors in this loom that get wet. Where from? I'm honestly beginning to think that I've got a problem with the heater core at this point, but I digress. We'll go forward and look at this. Oh man, and I can guarantee you some of the problems are going to be in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish cutting this off, try to take that apart as much as I can, and see if I can clean the connectors and salvage all this. Cool. Well, at least it's not as bad as I thought. Maybe I won't buy the Nanocom now. I don't know how well y'all can see this, but let's get at it. There's one. Oh man, that is gnarly. Two and three. Yeah, you can see the residue. So here's where we're at right now. I've removed two of the three. I'm about to go to that one. So I'm going to get some dialectic grease, clean that as best as I can, and rehook up the connectors. Alright, so after struggling for a little bit, here is the culprit. Now granted, I kind of sort of forced this off. Putting it back in, I'm going to take a little bit more caution and removing the other ones as well. But as you can see, there is quite a bit of a mess here. I'm beginning to think my heater core has gone out. So I'm going to go ahead and clean these off, and off we'll go, hopefully. Alright, so I've come back to remove the second affected plug, and as you can see, it is pretty gnarly. See if that'll focus. It's pretty bad. Look at the plug. Again, same thing. You can see some of the smaller pieces that have fallen off. I'm going to go buy a wire brush. I'm going to try to find a brass one. I'm not sure if I'll be able to. I'm going to clean the connectors, use some mass airflow sensor or electronics cleaner, try to get as much of the gunk off as I can. Put some dialectic grease in here, put them back on, and that should solve the problem. One of the things that I've noticed is, hey, there are pink wires here, and over there on the OBD2 port there are also pink wires, and I'm gonna go ahead and assume one of these bad ones right here are the ones that won't allow me to talk to the sorry about that. I found this piece right here. I thought that was a pin. That probably is what prevented me from talking to the ECM. And this one looks okay. I'll put some dialectic grease in there just in case. But after scrubbing the connector, I finally got to the point where I was happy with what they looked like. I went over and did the same thing on the plugs. Scrubbed them all down, sprayed it, and then now, as you can see, I'm able to put some of the dialectic grease and put it back in. The first time that I did this, it did not actually go over well. I was still having the same problem with not being able to get any data from my OBD2 port. I went back through and I realized that I had not cleaned that last pink connector on the gray socket. I gave that one quite a bit more cleaning, and then as soon as I did that, I was able to start pulling data. Check over here. Hey, we have a reading. I'm gonna go ahead and back out of that. I'm gonna check the slabs. Turn off the there we go. I actually had to turn off the oh, it is cold. I had to turn off the engine, and it actually read it this go around. So there are the codes, and I can see the light on. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back through and delete the code. Okay. No fault codes. And so this should give me information. I'm going to back out, back out. Go back through, do EOBD. And I went through and I had already checked all the fuses inside the cab in the engine bay. Alright, 0 codes. We'll go through and just erase everything. Perfect. Let's see what we got here. All right. This is looking good. I'm able to read everything on here. I'm gonna go ahead and close out of that. Exit. Alright, so while that decides to exit, let's go ahead and get this unplugged. I'm going to go ahead and plug in the ultra gauge. Hey, look at all those gauges. Done deal. Alright, just a quick recap. The last pins are what run the OBD2 connector. For me, the blue and the gray had corroded pins that I had to clean off. After this is done, I'm gonna wrap it all individually. I already have dialectic grease on them inside the connector. That way it'll keep moisture and water out. I'm gonna wrap it back up, get it all nice and pretty, and that ends the saga as to why in the world I lost connection to the OBD2 port. Awesome. I hope this will help somebody else, because this has been a small nightmare for me.